night and then gave birth to sons, would you wait until they grew up? Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters, it is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has gone out against me. So she is definitely a little bitter at the Lord. But she still has concern for her daughter-in-laws. Now, I don't remember ever teaching my kids about this part. Do y'all teach your kids about this part? Yeah, it's a lot to explain in it. Yeah. But it's important to us. At this, they wept again. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye. But Ruth clung to her. Look, said Naomi, your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. Go back with her. So I kind of wonder, what if Ruth didn't go? Phrase. And I always ask, how many of you had these words in your wedding ceremony? Really? None of you? Wow. This is in a lot of wedding ceremonies. And I've done a couple of weddings, and I've looked up different stuff, to do for weddings, because everybody's a little bit different. And this always comes up as a possibility for something to read. And, I've seen weddings, and the bride and the groom, they're saying these words to each other, and the bride's looking up at the man, and she's all crying, and, it's just so beautiful. These words are beautiful, but she probably doesn't know that these words are to her mother-in-law. But they are beautiful words. But Ruth replied, don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if anything but death separates you and me. Wow. That's quite the oath, isn't it? Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess unfortunate, but these are beautiful words. And what a pledge, right? What a pledge. And then they went ahead. So now, Ruth was going. She didn't care. She was dedicated to her. So the two women went on until they came to Bethlehem. And when they arrived in Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred. They couldn't believe it. Could this be Naomi? They just figured that they were gone forever, that they wouldn't come back. Like I said, it was a really long journey. So they were really surprised to see her. And she said, can this be Naomi? That's what the women in the town were saying. And again, don't call me Naomi, she told them. Call me Mara, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi? The Lord has afflicted me. The Almighty has brought misfortune upon me. So Naomi returned from Moab, accompanied by Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, arriving in Bethlehem as the barley harvest was beginning. So wow, Naomi is still really, really down, isn't she? To the point to where, what's that? No, she not even wants everybody to know, oh, woe is me. I'm having a really big pity party here. I am even going to change my name because of it. But in reality, it's pretty easy to get that way, isn't it? It's pretty easy to get that way. And so we all need people. Even though Ruth is so loyal to her, she still has these feelings. And these are just human feelings of grief. And they're really, really hard to deal with. And so if we get down in the dumps that way, it's hard to come out. And it seems like a lot of times if you're not experiencing it, and that's something that I kind of thought about when I was reading through this again, if you're not experiencing the kind of grief that Naomi's experiencing, your friends are like, get over it. It's been 3 months. Why are you still sad? That's not how it works. And as good Christians, we need to realize that's not how that works. We need to be, and not just for a little while. I said this journey was long. So just because you think somebody should be okay doesn't mean they should be okay. It's whatever they think. And it's your job as brothers and sisters to be supportive like Ruth. I think that's something really important for us to learn. We need to be Ruth-like in this circumstance. Y'all agree with that? It's hard. It's hard, but we need to be like her. But there's some really good happiness here. So a lot of Ruth is really about redemption. Have y'all thought about that before when you've read through Ruth? So Naomi she's really down. She's kind of renouncing God, but some good stuff happens, and that's what I love about this. So Ruth is going to meet Boaz here in chapter 2. Naomi had a relative on her side from the clan of Elimelech, a man of standing whose name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabitess said to Naomi, "Let me go to the fields and pick." "Go ahead, my daughter." So again, Ruth being supportive, she's trying to take care of Naomi. They need food. She's going to go work for it. So she went out and began to glean in the fields behind the harvesters. As it turned out, she found herself working in a field belonging to Boaz, who was from the clan of Elimelech. Just then, Boaz arrived from Bethlehem and greeted the harvesters. "The Lord be with you." "The Lord bless you," they called back. So I kind of get this picture. All of Boaz's workers are out in the field, and he comes riding up. Doesn't say a horse, does it? It just says it arrived. I don't know. In my mind, I always think he's on a nice, good-looking horse. He comes riding in. He's probably looking good. I think Boaz is all muscled up. You know, he knows what he's got. He knows that he's got these beautiful fields. It's harvest time. I'm going to make some money. And he rides in, and that's kind of what I get. You know, he sees this beautiful woman. Go ahead. Yeah. I think maybe you're right. Right? It probably wasn't, but what a cool thing to think about, right? I love this story. Boaz asked the foreman of his harvesters, "Whose young woman is that?" That's usually not how it's read, but I know, because I'm a man, that's how he said it. "Whose young woman is that?" The foreman replied, "She's the Moabitess who came back from Moab with Naomi. She said, 'Please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the harvesters.' She went into the field and has worked steadily from morning till night, or now, except for a short rest in the shelter." So when he's asking about her, he's seen her, he's awestruck by her, but now then he knows, man, this woman works hard. There may be something to her. Not only is she beautiful, she can work. Maybe this is somebody I need to date. I kind of thought that about Beth at one time. Well, I still do. She works really hard. Yeah, we were at a picnic, and it was a scene a lot like this. A lot like this. I'm teasing. We really were at a picnic. So Boaz said to Ruth, "My daughter, listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field, and don't go away from here. Stay here with my servant girls. Watch the field where the men are harvesting and follow along after the girls. I've told the men not to touch you, and whenever you are thirsty, go and get a drink from the water jars the men have filled." At this, she bowed down with her face to the ground. Beth never did that for me. I can't figure it out. "Why have I found such favor in your eyes, O Boaz, that you notice me, a foreigner?" So this whole script here, I mean, have y'all ever seen a movie about Ruth? Neither have I. But would this make some great Hollywood? I think it really would. Boaz replied, "I've been told all about you, my love, what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, how you left your father and mother and your homeland and came to live with the people you did not know before. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge. Wow. So Boaz, he says, I'm going to take care of this girl. She's worth it. She's earned it. He didn't just give it to her. I mean, I think he was attracted to her, but he realized what a good person that she is. And who does he ask to bless? I'll bless you, Ruth. I'll be the one to take care of you for God be in your life. So he is very humble, I think, at this point. He could have said those things. You stick with me, woman, and I'll take good care of you forever. You'll have riches. That's not what he did. He asked that God give her favor. So they're getting along. They're kind of courting a little bit. At mealtime, Boaz said to her, come over here, have some bread, and dip it in the wine vinegar. So we're starting to kind of see that they're building a relationship. When she sat down with the harvesters, he offered her some roasted grain. She ate all she wanted and had some left over. She got up to glean. Boaz gave orders to his men, even if she gathers among the sheaves, don't embarrass her. Rather, pull out some stalks for her, bundles, and leave them for her to pick up, and don't rebuke her. So Ruth went ahead and she gleaned in the field probably the rest of the day. Now, she had some leftovers, right? She just went to the trash can and threw those in the trash, right? No, that's not what she did at all. She still got Naomi on her brain. I still have someone at home that I'm responsible for, that I have to take care of, that I promised to take care of. So I'm going to take her the leftovers. I have a feeling that maybe Ruth intentionally didn't eat everything, that she was thinking of Naomi at that time. Ruth told her mother-in-law about the one at whose place she had been working. The name of the man I worked with today is Boaz, she said. The Lord bless him, Naomi said to her daughter-in-law. He has not stopped showing his kindness to the living and the dead. She added, that man is our close relative. He is one of our kinsman redeemers. So I think in this phrase, what we're starting to see is maybe a little bit of hope from Naomi. Oh, maybe God hasn't left me. Maybe he is going to help us. Maybe there's some good in the man that she's seeing. He has not stopped showing his kindness to the living and the dead. That man is our close relative. He is one of our kinsman redeemers. Then Ruth the Moabitess said, he even said to me, stay with my workers until they finish harvesting all my grain. So she's letting Naomi know, I think he kind of likes me. What if it was you and your daughter, you women, having a conversation about a boy? I think it might go a little bit like that, maybe. I think he kind of likes me, Mom. He let me stay with the others. Think about that kind of conversation. I know the Bible doesn't say that exactly, but we're humans, right? And a mother could be a mother-in-law daughter relationship. It could be a mother and a daughter having that conversation. But it was important for her to know, to let Naomi know that this was a good guy. So Ruth stayed close to the servant girls of Boaz to glean until the barley and wheat harvest were finished, and she lived with her mother-in-law. So let's talk just a little bit about, does anybody know what a kinsman redeemer was? They were responsible for protecting the interest of the needy members of an extended family even. Another one is to provide an heir to brother who has died. And these come from Deuteronomy. And so I thought we might look at that just a little bit. Let's go to Deuteronomy 25. Deuteronomy 25, and we're going to be talking here from verses 5 to 10. If brothers are living together and one of them dies without a son, his widow must not marry outside the family. Her husband's brother shall take care of her and marry her and fulfill the duty of brother-in-law to her. The first son she bears shall carry on the name of the dead brother, so that his name will not be blotted out from Israel. So it's really important, and we've talked about this several times. stipulations for how to do that if tragedy happens, which it had to Naomi. However, if a man does not want to marry his brother's wife, she shall go to the elders at the town gate and say, my husband's brother refuses to carry on his brother's name in Israel. He will not fulfill the duty of a brother-in-law to me. Then the elders of his town shall summon him and talk to him. If he persists in saying, I do not want to marry her, his brother's widow shall go up to him in the presence of the elders, take off one of his sandals, spit in his face, and say, this is what is done to the man who will not build up his brother's family line. That man's line shall be known in Israel as the family of the unsandaled. Have you ever read that before? Yeah, it's pretty stiff, isn't it? You better accept your responsibility or there's consequences. So we'll see later that Boaz, and I'm going to have to hurry to get there, Boaz accepts his responsibility to the letter. Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm telling you. No way. No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm just glad that we don't have to live under these circumstances anymore. It's really hard. It was really hard for them too. But that's one of the things about Boaz that we're going to see. He took his responsibility completely serious. And I think he was really educated as well because he knew what he was supposed to do. He knew what was right. So let's go on and look at chapter 3. We talk about nothing in chapter 3 to our children. Yes? Uh-huh. Yes. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. Absolutely. That's a great thought there. So like I said, in chapter 3, we really don't talk much to our children about chapter 3. Now, this is the love story part, I think, of Ruth. One day, Naomi, her mother-in-law, said to her, my daughter, should I not try to find a home for you where you will be well provided for? So Naomi's getting kind of excited, isn't she? She's kind of thinking, wow, my life is getting back together. We've got a man that is willing to do what he's supposed to do and to take care of us. And so she's trying to help out here. I don't believe, really, it kind of sounds like she's being a matchmaker, doesn't it? It really does, but I don't think so. I think she was looking at this more as a responsibility of helping Ruth understand who Boaz was, and if they were going to have a relationship in the future, she was educating Ruth on how to do that properly. I think we can learn a lot from that. I think when it comes to the church, older women in the church need to take some of the younger women under your wing and show them the right way to do things according to the Bible. So our jobs never stop. It doesn't matter how old we are. But I think we can learn that from Naomi, is that if you're going to have a relationship with God, if you're in the church, these are the things that you need to do. These are the things that I've learned from my experience. These are the things that I've learned from the Bible. I want to share those with you, young ladies, so that you understand what God's expectation is. There's nothing wrong with that. I think the church grows if we do that more often. And I can say that in this class. because men the same way. But in this example, I think that an older woman has the responsibility of showing the younger ones God's way. Y'all agree with that? Yeah, I think so. So she tells her, "My daughter, should I not try to find a home for you where you will be provided for? Is not Boaz, with whose servant girls you have been, a kinsman of ours, to not," because that was the time of the harvest. And I was going to go into that. I just don't have time. There's a whole series of ways when it comes to harvest. What's harvested first? Boaz. She just knows where he's going to be because of the harvest. And then she says, "Wash and perfume yourself and put on your best clothes. Then go down to the threshing floor, but don't let him know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking. Women, lie down. He will tell you what to do." That's kind of interesting, isn't it? We'll keep reading. And according to tradition, according to how brides were being prepared, according to Ezekiel, the tradition of laying by the feet, that came from Deuteronomy. So everything that's being done here, even though it sounds a little steamy and Hollywoodish, it's not. Everything here is proper. So understand that too. When Boaz had finished eating and drinking and was in good spirits, he went over to lie down at the far end of the grain pile. Ruth approached quietly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. In the middle of the night, Ruth, spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a kinsman redeemer. So what that did is, it tells us in Deuteronomy that to do that was kind of a sign, almost a proposal, like we're going to dedicate ourselves to each other and possibly be married. So that was a traditional thing. That wasn't anything that was inappropriate to do. "The Lord bless you, my daughter," he replied. "This kindness is greater than that which you showed earlier. You've not run after the younger men, whether rich or poor." He's recognizing her loyalty already to him. "And now, my daughter, don't be afraid. I will do for you all you ask. All my fellow townsmen know that you are a woman of noble character. Although it is I am near of kin, there is a kinsman redeemer nearer than I. Stay here for the night, and in the morning, if he wants to redeem, good, let him redeem. But if he is not willing, as surely as the Lord lives, I will do it. Lie here until morning." So he's letting her know there's someone closer. Someone else has the responsibility before him. So I'm kind of thinking, man, if I'm Boaz and that's Ruth, I don't know how happy I am right now. I'm a little bit distraught. You know, we've got this relationship going. I'm a little bit distraught. But Boaz is going to continue to do the right thing. Yes, sir. He had. Right. Right. He did. Yeah. And even knowing that, though, he still sought out to do the right thing, didn't he? He did. So, we continue on. Oh, man, I can't believe it's already this time. So she laid at his feet till morning, got up before anyone could be recognized, and said, "Don't let it be known that a woman came to the threshing floor." I don't think it was because of his reputation. It would have been for her reputation. He didn't want anybody talking bad about her whatsoever. So, when Ruth came back to her mother-in-law, "How did it go, my daughter?" So Naomi, I think she's kind of like staying up late. Like, I got to know what happens here. Well, it was morning, so I wonder how well she slept. Then she told her everything Boaz had done for her and added, "He gave me these 6 measures of barley, saying, 'Don't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed.'" So that shows that law. What a great guy he is. So in chapter 4, he marries Ruth. He goes down, though, and he says, he's already said there's another kinsman redeemer ahead of me. And so they have to do all the things that we read in Deuteronomy. They have to go before the elders. And he says if he doesn't take the responsibility. Basically, Boaz says, I will redeem it. And Boaz said, on the day you buy the land from Naomi and from Ruth the Moabitess, you acquire the dead man's widow in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property. So, as Brent said, he had researched everything. He kind of was a good attorney. He had a good defense. Either way, he had a good defense. At this, the kinsman and redeemer said, then I cannot redeem it because I might endanger my own estate. You redeem it yourself, I cannot do it. So Boaz does the right thing, and he buys the field. And Boaz announced to the elders and all the people, today you are witnesses that I have bought from Naomi all the property of Elimelech, Chilion, and Mahlon. I have also acquired Ruth the Moabitess, Mahlon's widow, as my wife, in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property, so that his name will not disappear from among his family or from the town records. Today you are witnesses. Then the elders and all those at the gate said, we are witnesses. May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, who together built up the house of Israel. May you have a standing in Ephrathah and be famous in Bethlehem. Through the offspring of the Lord gives you by this young woman, may your family be like that of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah. And then it goes into the genealogy of David. So, what can we learn? Just real quick. What can we learn from Naomi? Faithful. Now, Naomi, she got down, didn't she? She had it tough. But I think we see all the good qualities of a good daughter-in-law. And then Boaz, a man that was absolutely committed to do the right thing. But the overall theme, if you go back and read it again, I want you to think about kindness. The entire thing in the middle of Judges, where things were bad, kindness prevailed. So I think that's the message today. Be kind. All right.